Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the graduating MPA class of 2013.
Please be seated. Good afternoon. I am Lillian Mills, Chair of the Department of Accounting at the University of Texas at Austin. This afternoon, we celebrate the accomplishments of the students who have completed their MPA degree requirements. It is a great pleasure to welcome to this ceremony the spouses, parents, and relatives, friends, and teachers of these fine students. We have a rich history. Back in 1912, Professor Spurgeon Bell stood before 20 students in the first accounting class at the University of Texas. In the 101 years that followed, this Department of Accounting has crafted a first-class professional education. Our programs today are world-renowned, with a solid record of securing the #1 spot in national rankings, including the U.S. News and World Report and the Public Accounting Report. This is your legacy, and your actions to uphold it commence now. UT passing rate on the CPA exam has consistently been among the highest in the country. In the last 3 years, a UT student was among the 40 students nationally to win the coveted Elijah Watt-Sells Award with better than a 95% score on all 4 parts. If you are still studying for the exam, remember that your pass rate is part of our legacy. Each year, we survey our graduates as they leave the program. This year, 94% of the May 2013 MPA graduates looking for work have already accepted offers of employment. Not surprisingly, 77% of those will be working in Texas. The remainder are scattered across the country in cities such as Denver, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, Chicago, and Atlanta. This year, 11 of our May graduates have accepted offers in New York City. Among our graduates, 88 of you studied abroad or will study abroad this coming summer, giving you a concrete experience of our global economy. You learned in Prague and Paris and Hong Kong that the reputation of UT's accounting program is worldwide, and as your careers take you across the globe, you will build our worldwide reputation further. That reputation is your legacy. When you entered as a student, you became a member of the University of Texas community, and now as you graduate, your relationship with UT continues. You have the opportunity to join other alumni who lend a hand back to the next generation. So first, keep in touch. Those of you who are working in Texas, come back and visit often. If you are far away, keep in touch via Skype, email, the MBA Facebook, the MPA LinkedIn, follow our MPA Twitter. Our next generation of students needs you to reach back. That personal connection strengthens your legacy. Second, support us financially. A concrete way you can do that is to participate at any level in the annual giving each year. Your participation rate will trumpet the pride we know you hold in this MPA degree, honoring and building your legacy. 24% of the students here today gave back as part of the 2013 MPA Legacy Campaign, and your names are in our program, and we want to thank you for that. This ceremony is obviously an important milestone for all the students whose graduation we recognize today, and the ceremony is appropriately called a commencement. You are leaving the university for a new beginning. And I know that I speak for the faculty when I say it has been a privilege for us to teach this great group of students. We wish them the very best as they carry our legacy into the next century. And as you start this next phase, I and the other members of the accounting faculty and the program staff congratulate you for your outstanding achievement. The eyes of Texas are upon you, and make no mistake, they are proud eyes indeed. It is now my pleasure to introduce Thomas Gilligan, the Centennial Chair in Business Education Leadership and our Dean at the McCombs School of Business. Dean Gilligan.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's my honor and pleasure to be here today as you graduate with your MPA degrees. This is such a prestigious program. Lil mentioned some of the rankings to you, but it drives so much of the excellence that we have, not only in the McCombs School of Business, but at the University of Texas. I want to congratulate the faculty for the academic values and performance and professionalism that they exhibit, as well as the commitment they have towards the MPA program. So thank you, faculty. Also, the dirty little secret behind any great academic program is the quality of students that we admit to our programs. The students that matriculate and get through our MPA program are distinguished by their intelligence, their integrity, and their dedication and hard work. I want to congratulate all you for all you've done to make a successful MPA degree. And I want to echo Lil's words. We're proud to have you represent the McCombs School of Business going forward, and we're very excited to watch your careers unfold. Well, my primary job here today is to introduce our speaker, Dr. Robert May, Bob May. Bob is the KPMG professor, soon to be emeritus professor, at the McCombs School of Business. Bob received his PhD from Michigan State University in 1970 and spent 9 years at the University of Washington prior to joining our faculty in 1979. As a faculty member, Bob has taught many different courses and has received teaching awards for both the delivery of the course and innovation in course design. He served as department chair in accounting twice, and all of you IMPA graduates should know that Bob was the one who helped design and secured approval of this program, as well as securing approval for the 5-year format. He led the faculty in establishing the 4-credit spring internship program as well. As dean of the school, one of his most notable achievements was securing the naming gift for our school, the $50 million gift by the Red McCombs to establish the Red McCombs School of Business. I also should say that Bob has just done probably more than anyone in the last 20 years to uphold the kind of academic standards and values that it takes to produce a top-ranked accounting program and to have the kind of top-ranked business school that we have today. In 1997, he received the coveted Eyes of Texas Award for outstanding service to the university. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Bob May.
It's great to be here. I'm sure you agree with me. It's great to be here. Dean Gilligan, Chair Mills, Director Lindberg, faculty, graduates, grandparents, parents, siblings, and other family members of our graduates, and anyone else who happens to be here who is partly responsible for our graduates having made it to the finish line, including, I suppose, some clergy and counselors, and of course, the lenders on your student loans. This address is in two parts. First, I want to tell you why I think you're about to graduate from the best department of accounting in the world. Then I would like to give you a brief presentation of a single concept that I commend to you for the rest of your lives. So first, when I was trying to decide whether or not to leave the University of Washington and come to UT in 1979, there were a lot of variables to consider. A prominent variable was financial. The state of Washington had about 3 million citizens, and they were trying to and were struggling to support two flagship universities. Looked at Texas, and Texas had a base population of 14 million people, so I thought that was a better bet for future state support. And UT was offering me a very nice raise and a promotion. However, I would not have come here, I would not have moved from the University of Washington for money or a promotion alone. I went into higher education to make a difference in the discipline that I love and for my students. So I reflected very much on the culture of the accounting departments at the two schools. The culture at Washington was great. I loved it, especially for the basics of research and teaching. And my colleagues were really dedicated, both when they went into the classroom and when they basically plunged deep into their original research. And they were good at both of those things. The same was true at Texas, but there was one big difference. At Texas, the faculty were not just dedicated to their individual research and teaching, they also collectively dedicated themselves to their degree programs. In particular, whether their programs were giving their students the most competitive intellectual and professional preparation for their future professional endeavors. I was quite impressed with this and this culture, and I wondered at the time how it evaded so many schools around the country and how central it was to my own values. So I signed up in 1979, and I have been continuously impressed that we have been able to maintain that culture as faculty have signed on and faculty have retired. And let me give you an example that should be particularly salient to our IMPA graduates today. Now, for the TMPA graduates, I just want to mention to you that you own the first great innovation in this program. That was the founding of the program in 1948. It was a traditional program, and it still offers the same opportunity for bachelor's degree graduates who want to get a master's degree in professional accounting. But in 1982, the accounting faculty proposed a 5-year integrated BBA MPA program that's now named the IMPA. We worked extremely hard for this program because we believe that professional accountants should have a master's level education, and we felt we needed to make that accessible by offering an integrated route to both degrees. It would be affordable, more affordable than separate bachelor's and master's degrees, both in terms of tuition, fees, and time, and maintenance cost. We meant it to be an inducement to students to make a greater investment in their education preparation for entry into their careers. After a 2-year struggle, we got the program approved, and we admitted our first class of juniors in fall of 1984. Your programs say 85, but I just checked with Jim Dietrich, who was the first director under the dual degree tracks, and we're pretty sure it was 84. They graduated in spring of 1987, and I want to mention that it was 10 years. They graduated 10 years before the state of Texas required 150 hours to sit for the CPA exam, and our program already satisfied that requirement. There were a lot of skeptics, and some CPA firms actually tried to discourage our students and recruit them out in their 4th year to stop out, wrap up a bachelor's degree, and not go through the 5th year. And now I want to tell you something that was vindicating. It's both amusing and incredibly powerful, and it converted many people, I'd say everyone, to supporters of what we were doing. Our second graduating class, entered in '85, graduated in spring of '88, had to take the CPA exam in November of 1988 because at that time in the state of Texas, you had to actually own a bachelor's degree to sit for the exam, and our students didn't own their bachelor's degrees until the spring of their 5th year. It's a little different now. So they all took the exam, and in late November or early December, I was newly appointed for my second term as department chair in fall of '88. And in late November, early December, I got a call from the president's office. The president had been called by an official of the State Board of Public Accountancy, and they demanded that we come to meet the board members and respond to allegations of mass cheating among our graduates. And if the specter of this accusation going public alone was extraordinarily traumatic, because once the accusation was out there, we probably would never undo it. As you know, bad news is remembered so much more than good news. So they demanded that we come. The university sent along the university's legal counsel. I responded to the summons, as did Professor Dietrich, whom I might add was the first director of the dual track programs. He did a tremendous job of sinking deep roots down for the IMPA and helping it succeed in all these later years. So we showed up, and the Texas board was holding up announcing the CPA exam results for the entire nation because they had to resolve this issue of possible cheating by our students. So they insisted we come immediately, and we did. Here's the amusing part. They suspected our students had cheated because over 90% of our graduates passed at least one part on the CPA exam, whereas the national average was 29%. And in addition, 65% of our graduates passed all 4 parts in the first sitting, whereas the national average was 12%. And they thought we were cheating. They wanted me to explain, and I wanted to yell, whoopee! It just seemed like this is the kind of problem you want to have. But instead, Jim and I patiently explained the strengths of the program and the concept of the program. They were still skeptical about this, and I didn't understand why, as auditors, they didn't think of this. We had to tell them that the examinees' seat numbers were noted on their exams, and we suggested that they check whether or not our graduates were bunched up in clusters that would make collaboration relatively easily. And secondly, we suggested that they look at any of our students who happened to sit close by each other during the exam and check the degree of similarity among the answers that the few students that were seated nearby turned in. The results of both tests were resoundingly negative. There wasn't a scrap of evidence that was substantive that our students cheated. So the state board decided to accept the superiority of our students and our program as the explanation of the anomalous exam results, and they released the national results. Well, I can tell you, after that, selling the IMPA degree program was not so difficult after all. There are other manifestations of the faculty's vision in making this program accessible and high quality. For example, the faculty have also approved the 5-year feasibility of doing a BA in economics and an MPA in about the same amount of time as the IMPA. So to summarize, my first point, if you're wondering what made your program #1 in the USA for so many years out of the last 20, you're looking at the reasons up here on the stage. They're your accounting faculty. And please. I know you've had a number of them individually, and I know that my colleagues do an outstanding job in the classroom, but remember them for the program as well. And also be sure to write your faculty members as you go through your careers. Nothing makes faculty happier than getting their research published or seeing the success of their students. Both are in their DNA. So please think of that. Okay, so now, 2.2. I am told that few students in each graduating class remember who addressed them at commencement, and a very few, if any, remember what the message was. Therefore, what I'd like to do is leave you with just one additional thought that you can internalize and take with you for life. So I hope it's memorable not from the delivery, but from the value of the thought. And I ask you at the outset, if you have to forget something, forget me, but please remember the thought. Of course, I'm an accounting professor, and you might ask, legitimately at this point, if there's additional wisdom in the accounting discipline, then why isn't it included in that curriculum that I was just bragging about? And the answer is, I'm just going to use the accounting discipline as a stepping off point. I'm simply going to start with something at the foundation of the accounting process. In accounting, we record exchanges called transactions. By the way, I know some of you know this already, but it's for the general audience that I'm making a little bit of a display here. In accounting, we record exchanges called transactions, and from that recording, we capture data on the value of things exchanged. And these data are aggregated and they're transformed into things like the sales and the income of Apple Corporation, the GDP and GNP of the United States at the highest level of aggregation, excuse me. Yes, indeed. Exchange data are at the root of all our information on value created by businesses and the total productivity of the economy and so forth. But accountants, but especially economists and some accountants are aware of another important aspect of exchanges. In each voluntary exchange transaction, both parties generally are made better off by the exchange. The buyer of goods prefers to give up money to purchase the goods, so the goods must be of greater value to them, and they're better off. Likewise, the seller prefers the money received to continuing to retain the goods. So both parties are better off, and incidentally, this applies as well to involuntary transactions, but the value differential is created artificially. For example, I might not like to pay my taxes or pay a parking ticket, but the government authority makes the other alternative even more unpleasant, and so there is value differential there. Now consider how powerful this idea is when the values of individual transactions are aggregated. As of Wednesday, this last Wednesday, May 15th, 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time, the world population was 7,085,393,900. I was sitting there mesmerized looking at the world clock going over, and I just waited long enough for it to come up with 2 zeros. Some of these people, of course, don't live in exchange economies, but suppose we conservatively assume that on average, they each enter into 2 economic exchanges each day. Then every minute of every day around the globe, 5 million value-adding exchanges are taking place in which 2 parties are better off. Now, even if the increments in value are relatively small, that's a lot of better off per minute. And I'm pretty sure I've underestimated the number of exchanges. But I don't want to make too fine a point of this before moving on to my ultimate objective. It is not my objective to look at economic value added, only to establish the metaphor of the value-adding exchange. So I submit to you now that there is another kind of exchange, the interpersonal exchange, whose currency is communication between human beings. Surely people worldwide average more than two exchanges per day with other human beings. I believe that I average more than 20. Some are trivial but pleasant exchanges of greetings. Many of them, however, are purposeful. People come to me because of what I know or what I do. They want or need information. They want help with a process, commitment to a mutual endeavor, an opinion on an event of interest, or some other form of satisfaction. If it's one of my bosses, the dean or department chair, I make at least some effort to satisfy them, as you would in my place. But unlike economic exchanges, there is no guarantee that interpersonal exchanges are positive for both parties. I think that Dean Gilligan and Chair Mills would acknowledge that that's sometimes true even with faculty as the exchangees. Yet the potential for mutual satisfaction is vast. Suppose that I conservatively estimate an average daily number of human exchanges of 15 per day, from your average age that I estimate it being about 24, including the traditional MPAs, to an arbitrary life expectancy of 87 years, you will have approximately 345,000, or more than 1/3 opportunities to improve other people's lives in small increments on a daily basis that can add up to an immense contribution to human welfare. If you adopt the right attitude, you can make almost every one of those opportunities count. What's the right attitude? First, recognize that the natural, social, and economic worlds are still rough on the human race as a whole. All people are needy, and right after their needs for the basics come their needs for personal psychic security, self-esteem, and love. We're all in this together, so let us consider it our obligation to give satisfaction when we can, whenever we can, to our fellow human beings. The human mind is a wondrously fast and wondrously complex instrument of perception. Without practice, in microseconds or even nanoseconds, your mind can make a fair estimate of what another person needs in any given exchange. Second, unless you cannot morally, ethically, or legally help them, make it a habit to deliver. Let me give you two examples of how I applied that principle in my professional life. I've been counseling students for over 50 years, ever since I became a dorm advisor at Michigan State in 1962. I made a conscious commitment when I was department chairman the first time in 1980-82, when students came to me for help, and by the way, our university was tough in terms of its treatment of students at that time, and that's what awakened me to this. When students came to me for help and I can't help them, I don't let them leave my office without a referral to the office or person elsewhere on campus who can and will solve their problem. That is, I don't turn them away to find necessary help elsewhere. That was very common. Students went all over campus looking for somebody to answer their question, and they had very grave difficulties finding them. So basically, I felt if I couldn't solve their primary problem, I'd solve their secondary problem, finding that someone who can. In my teaching, I apply a simple philosophy. I'm in the classroom to teach students, not subject matter. I've always set my standards high for my students, but I perceive my job to be to help them achieve those standards, not to determine whether they're worthy of our beloved discipline of accounting. You and your colleagues here and around the country today, graduates, are a national and international treasure. Your intellectual and other capabilities are enormous. Your potential is awesome. Lest that potential be wasted, you must go forth with aspirations to do great things. But please consider this. It is a conceit based on self-serving myth that great men and women who pursue great endeavors must use, abuse, and discard their colleagues, protégés, and subordinates in order to achieve greatness. The workplace is a hard place, and some of you will experience it. So finally, let me say to you, go forth from the University of Texas at Austin MPA program, lead the greatest professional firms, supply the highest caliber professional services, help your clients or the companies you work for find the best ways to meet global competition, build new companies, develop new technologies, because the world and humankind need those things. But on your way to your first partnership, managing partnership, chief financial officership, presidency, or chairmanship, promise me that you'll do about 1/3 small good deeds each. And take it from me, your old accounting professor, they're really going to add up. Best wishes and good luck.
Bob, thank you so much. We're going to miss you and hope that your retirement is wonderful. I have two other retirement announcements. First, you might know that Professor Will O'Hara retired this semester for the second time. He was a gift to our honors program, as Robert Prentice would attest, and these last many years, he also probably taught a lot of you Accounting 311 or Accounting 312. I'm happy that he will remain with the department's advisory council, so we will get to benefit from his help through the years. And he could not be here today but I hope many of you who are his former students will take a chance to email him a thank you and your best wishes. Finally, Professor Urton Anderson is retiring from the University of Texas and at the same time accepting a new challenge as the department chair at the University of Kentucky. He's a former undergraduate dean and a former department chair. I have appreciated his counsel during my 2 years. Urton Anderson is the academic expert in internal auditing nationally, and generations of Longhorn auditors learned about management control from Professor Anderson. We will miss his expertise and personal touch throughout the college. Please join me in thanking Urton Anderson for all his service to the college and our MPA program. Here at the University of Texas, the Butler School of Music is world-renowned, and so it is now my pleasure to introduce the group providing our music this afternoon. The Longhorn Ceremonial Brass will give us an interlude playing My Spirit Be Joyful by Johann Sebastian Bach. It is now my pleasure to introduce Professor Stephen Limburg. Professor Limburg is the PricewaterhouseCoopers Professor of Accounting and the Faculty Director of the MPA program. Steve?
Commencement is a time for celebration, recognition, and commendation. At this stage of the ceremony, we would like to recognize some of our outstanding graduates. The CPA Accounting Education Foundation sponsors an award for an MPA student who has demonstrated outstanding accounting knowledge. This year, the CPA Accounting Education Foundation Award goes to Sarah Brooke Haas. Sarah, congratulations. And please come up and accept your award. The Federation of Schools of Accountancy sponsors an award for an MPA student who has excelled academically and shows promise as an outstanding professional. This year, the receipt of this award is Marie Claire Williams. Marie, please come up. The MPA Program Office now recognizes 2 MPA students who have gone above and beyond in supporting the program. This award recognizes MPA students who demonstrate meritorious leadership and service that not only advances the causes of the MPA student body, but the mission of the MPA program. This year's awards go to Francisco Laredo Hernandez and Bernard Noping and Ganjin. I'm going to say a few words before they come up. Francisco impresses as a constant and dependable leadership volunteer in the MPA program and a career consultant assistant in the MPA program office. Francisco is always happy to help and shows initiative, creativity, friendliness, and a can-do attitude. This year, Francisco is also a finalist in the UT-wide Employee of the Year competition. Bernard has been involved in every aspect of the MPA program, and he is the first to volunteer for anything that is needed. After showing prospective students around McCombs, Bernard will often take the visitors out for a treat at his own expense. His support of the MPA program and his high value as a member of the MPA community make Bernard an impressive advocate. Bernard and Francisco, please accept your awards. Claire Williams, the president of the Master in Professional Accounting Council, will now present the Master in Professional Accounting Program Outstanding Traditional Student and Professor Awards. Claire?
Each year, the MPA Council acknowledges a member of the traditional MPA class who has made an outstanding contribution to our program through personal character, class spirit, and campus involvement. Today, we are pleased to give the Outstanding Traditional MPA Award to a classmate who is described as someone with an infectious, positive spirit that improves class morale and unity. This student has made a personal connection with almost everyone in the program and is always there whenever someone needs a hand. It is said that she exemplifies what it means to be an outstanding MPA. A number of her classmates noted that she is a hard worker with a vibrant personality and a great asset to the MPA program. The Outstanding Traditional MPA Award goes to Jamie Cho. And I've been told that Jamie is not here today. Is she here? Okay, I'll make sure she gets the award. Today, I also present an award for the MPA program Outstanding Professor. One such faculty member is recognized as an outstanding professor by the 2013 graduating class. It was noted time and again that this professor cares greatly about his students, gets to know them outside of the classroom, and is involved in their academic studies and their extracurricular activities. He embodies and spreads Longhorn spirit in and outside of the classroom. One student noted that this professor searched all of McCombs to find her because he knew that she had some last-minute questions before an exam. He presents the classroom material in a way that allows the students to fully understand and remember the various accounting concepts. His passion for business and his belief in the importance of an accounting degree truly show in the way he presents the material, and he brings tremendous value to the MPA program as a whole. He truly cares about the progress of his students and gives students more confidence in their degree and their decision to pursue a degree in accounting. A number of students also acknowledged gratefully that he helps prepare them well for the CPA exam. Today, I am honored to have the privilege of presenting the Outstanding Professor Award to Dr. James W. Dietrich.
Congratulations, all award recipients. Each year at MPA Commencement, representatives from the MPA graduating class address the assembly. This year, the graduating student speakers are Monica Malfer and Bernard Noping Angajan. After a little rest and relaxation following graduation, Monica will begin working for PwC in New York City. With a focus in financial reporting and assurance, she will join the firm as an assurance associate. She would like to thank her family and friends for their support over the past 5 years. Bernard will be attending the Summer Abroad program in Hong Kong, and after that, looks forward to beginning full-time with Deloitte in Houston. As an audit associate in the fall, Bernard has an MBA degree and is a certified public manager and a certified fraud examiner. Monica and Bernard, please come up.
Faculty, proud parents, grandparents, family members, and above all, my fellow graduates, good afternoon and welcome. I transferred to the University of Texas because I wanted to surround myself with people who worked hard and were determined. Everyone here is such a strong personality and is driven, which has made my experience at the university nothing short of amazing. Outside of testing in the CPA, but nonetheless great. One day, I was talking to a friend of mine who was an art design major at the university, and he had also transferred in, and I asked him whether he thought there was a difference at the University of Texas, and he ardently answered yes. He said the greatest difference is that at the University of Texas, he said that, sorry. He ardently answered yes, there we go. He said the greatest difference was that the University of Texas developed a conceptual understanding of art. It was not just a school that teaches students how things are done. And that is exactly what our MPA degree has taught us. Not only do we understand the debits and credits, but we understand the overall processes and how the concepts have changed over time. And in a world full of technology and globalization that's increasing and expanding everything we do, this is what sets us apart and gives us an edge. Whether you felt challenged or not during your years here, we're all leaving more confident and more educated than when we began. I love learning new things and grabbing every opportunity placed in front of me. But sometimes I find myself not doing this for the sake of knowledge, but to know more than the person beside me. As we're all driven individuals, I'm sure many do. But we can't let our competitive nature blind us from our true potential. What we can do and should do is use our knowledge to work together and move forward as a team versus an individual. And this is critical as we move ahead in our career. Some of us plan on being a CFO or starting our own company, while others haven't even thought that far. We're just excited to finally have an income. But in order to reach any of these levels, you have to work with others to learn from everyone around you and let others strengthen your weaknesses and vice versa. And that is where I'm grateful to have had a college experience. a pseudo real-world experience that has prepared us to do just this, strengthen our effort and leadership. And even when I originally failed, I never quit. I just made sure to never make that same mistake again. And it is with these experiences that we are more apt to deal with similar situations in our career. We will make mistakes, and when we do, we know that we can overcome them. And although we have learned so much at the University of Texas, don't forget about the fun and memories that we experienced and who we experienced them with. We've made some of our best friends over the past 5 years. We were given an additional year compared to most students, so we should have plenty. So today, be proud of what you've accomplished, for this truly is a great achievement in your life. We're finally done, we're finally on our own, and as proud as you think your parents are of you, they're really just excited they no longer have to fund you. So, enjoy these next few months, spend as much of their money as you can, go on a shopping spree in the name of graduation. So, thanks, Mom and Dad, for all of your support. Congratulations and good luck, class of 2013.
Thank you, Monica, for that eloquent speech. I'm going to have to ask you guys to please bear with me because I have a very interesting accent. It's taking me a little longer than 4 years to get the Texan accent, but someday I'm going to get there. Africans are well known for giving long speeches, but this time I've decided to break away from that tradition by speaking for only 3 hours instead of 2. Let me begin by saying I have been very fortunate to experience hardships, obstacles, success, and interact with a vast diversity of people across geographical, academic, political, and religious spectrums. I can assure you that this has been the best year of the past 28 years of my life because I have met the best people in recent memory. For that, I thank each of you. A Chinese philosopher, Lao Tzu, once wrote, and I quote, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." For many of us, that proverbial step was taken more than a few years ago. And at long last, on this glorious day, we have arrived at the 1,000th mile. However, we must not fail to realize that the more momentous journey is really just beginning, meaning that what we celebrate here today represents the culmination of our hard work, time, determination, commitment, and effort, which in itself is another first step. It is with utmost honor and humility that I stand before you to speak words that might as well be yours. Words I hope echo sentiments we all share. Naturally, this is a day that each of us has been anticipating for a long time, as have our parents, brothers and sisters, friends, families, and other loved ones. We have each come a long way to arrive at this milestone. We have set upon our respective journeys to arrive at this common destination, and along the way, we have encountered many fellow travelers and made many new discoveries, none more important than the ones we have made about ourselves. I believe that one must become a professional long before one is hired to be a professional. And truly, that is a huge part of the essence of an institution of higher learning, such as the one we are all privileged to have attended all these years, the University of Texas. As we graduate with a master's in professional accounting, we are on the verge of undertaking a profession that requires a unique amount of diligence, ethical fortitude, and arguably incomparable degree of meticulousness. I am confident, because of the training and education gained at our esteemed university, that each of us is equipped to meet the new challenges with necessary resolve. Under your benevolent auspices, of course, I would like to take a few seconds and acknowledge my brother and friend, Kenny Rich Famunong, Professor Patty Brown, Rebecca Casino, Ajab Asong, and Abandango, who helped author and edit this speech I am delivering today. They helped me ensure it had less French and more English. I am grateful to them for their time and efforts, despite their other obligations. And on a personal note, it would be sacrilege if I failed to thank my dearly beloved parents and family for my own successes throughout my life. I believe that family time is honesty time, and they have been the solid roots that have fed the tree I have grown into. I would like to steal a few seconds and say this to my younger sister, Linda, who happens to be here. You don't find it every day where you have a younger sister who pays your rents for all your MPA experience, and more importantly, she cooked for me. So every day I had to go back home to some cooked food. So I thank you for that, Linda, and you helped me facilitate my MPA experience. I didn't have to spend much money outside, so thank you. Friends, we could never have accomplished any of this without the guidance, support, and love of our professors and mentors, family members, and friends. Therefore, we would be remiss not to sincerely thank these wonderful individuals for the irreplaceable role they have each played in shaping and molding us into the men and women we are today. Please, fellow MPA graduates, let's give a round of applause to these wonderful people. When I think of Jim Franklin, Stephen Lindbergh, Lillian Mills, Jason Tassett, Kerry Ledesma, Kathy Saker, Michelle Porkinghorn, Vin Nguyen, April Stockwell, Madeline Chauvin, and Alizé Gerthy. I think of a quote by Isaac Newton, which says, "I can see far because I'm standing on the shoulders of giants." It is without doubt that these folks form the nucleus of the MPA program, continuously scheduling our courses, prepping and reviewing our resumes for career searches and job placement, and of course, ensuring that most of us leave here with a satisfactory sense of accomplishment. They are the giants on whose shoulders we stand. And to you, Jim, Stephen, and everyone I mentioned, on behalf of the MPA graduating class, we are grateful for your vote of confidence in our abilities and for standing by us throughout this program. We promise, at the very least, to give our very best in whatever quest, and as well, protect our MPA brand. Please, let's give them a huge round of applause. Like every human being, there are points in life when you experience some down moments. And for a guy like me who smiles 200% of the time or rarely gets annoyed, it is pretty difficult to notice when I have problems. However, I would like to thank a few friends, Louis Corso, Matt Rao, Claire Williams, Jennifer Milhouse, Brian Marshall, Rob Ward, Nate Pace, Josh McPhee, Sharon Chan, Joanna Reboon, Bill Kinney, Roland Etiazi, Lisa Kunz, Brian Lindecki, Mark Bradshaw, for not being only classmates and professors, but for being friends, brothers, sisters, and even more so mentors and true sources of inspiration, especially during points in my life when I needed such. I may have forgotten to name every other person, but trust me, it is not intentional, and I extend my gratitude to all of those I've not mentioned. I heard some very sad news, of course, a few days ago that one of our most cherished professors, Professor Erden Anderson, will be leaving us this year. This particular touches me as he's the one who got me excited about this program. 3 years ago, my boss, Yolanda Davies, who happens to be in here with us today, called me into her office and recommended that I consider getting an accounting degree. She was as specific in mentioning the Texas MPA. The following day, I called the chair of the accounting department's office, and it just dawned on me that it was a public holiday. Anyways, I left a voicemail. To my surprise, within 15 minutes, I got a call from a gentleman who introduced himself as Erden Anderson, and he took approximately 1 hour to learn about my background, passionately talk about the program, and even recommended things I could consider as I made my decision. That caught my attention and definitely made me begin the application process. Professor Erden Anderson has been here within the university since 1984. That's about when I was born. And he's had a distinguished career both here and with the Institute of Internal Auditors. He is popularly nicknamed by most internal audit directors around as the King of Internal Auditing. I will not go ahead and list his biography or achievements, because if I do, we might end up finishing this commencement at 9 p.m. But Professor, on behalf of the graduating class, and specifically your internal audit and global team classes, we enjoyed those early morning quizzes. And I am sure the incoming class will miss them even more. Please know that today is your graduation day as well. Best of luck in your new ventures, and accept a sincere thank you from me and from all the students in here who have taken your class and have been mentored by you in some capacity. Can you please stand, let the crowd see who you are. Let's give them a huge round of applause. I also must remind my fellow graduating Longhorns that as we go forth from here, even as we continue to bleed orange, we must always remember that everyone we encounter has the same blood as us within their veins. I say that simply to reiterate the importance of fostering the same spirit of diversity, solidarity, and compassion that we have been taught to embrace right here on the 40 acres, henceforth and for the rest of our lives. Based on my own personal experiences, I have come to sincerely believe that we can learn so much more about ourselves, ironically, not from the people who are exactly like us, but rather from people who are unlike us. I hope that you too may appreciate this perspective. As Longhorns ready and equipped to go out and grab life by the horns, no matter how far we go, no matter how high we ascend in our respective professions, we must always remember the ties that bind us, the University of Texas. As we walk the line today, we automatically become partners to the MPA program. And as partners, I must ask kindly in advance that we do our part to make our alma mater proud by sustaining her prominence and the quality of education of future generations of Longhorns. We can accomplish this together by developing the good habit of giving back as alumni to the MPA program, not just of the money we hope we may make lots of, but also of the time we know we will never have enough of. As I move to my conclusion, I am reminded of the words by my good friend Vangelis Ngwa, who reminded me that we must possess a stubborn will, a willpower that refuses to accept failure as an option. We must strengthen this will through our everyday activities and promise ourselves that no matter what obstacles we face, we will never look back and never give up. Part of our stubborn will entails properly writing our own stories, but also breaking away from the vicious cycle of killing the dreams of others. We must have a stubborn will to successfully achieve all our dreams, but also to help others achieve theirs. So whenever the going gets tough, remember, we are always bigger than our circumstances, for between stimulus and response rests our greatest power, which is choice. So let's choose to give the world the very best of us, even when it is tough, and let our light not be dimmed by any negative forces. Let's never bend our heads, always hold them high, and look the world straight in the eye. Long live the MPA program. Best of wishes to you all, and once more, congratulations. Hogam.
Thank you, Monica and Bernard. And now, the long-awaited moment has arrived. I must admit this is my favorite part. It is time to recognize our MPA graduates. Each student will receive a memento from the accounting department, as well as personal congratulations from Dean Gilligan, Professor Mills, and me. The university will mail diplomas to each graduate at a later date. Students who have earned one or both of the department's Scholastic Achievement Awards will also receive by mail a certificate of accomplishment signed by Professor Mills and me. These awards are the Dean's Award for Academic Excellence for students with an overall GPA of 3.8 or higher, the Sommerfeld Scholar Award for students with a graduate accounting GPA of 3.8 or higher. Because these awards are based on GPA, it is not possible to identify the recipients until graduate grades have been recorded by the university. MPA career consultant Vin Nguyen and MPA academic advisor Jason Tassett will read each student's name. We will now recognize our MPA graduates.
Bernard Ndoping Onganje. Marie Claire Williams. Carolyn Sire. Haley Glidewell. Katie Gilbert. Monica Malfer. Matthew Lenz. Ryan Burney. Kevin Yao. Rocky Bay. Dan Quach. Jong-in Choi. Nanming Zhang. Katie Kohler. Atifer Itrat. Guillermo Castro. Youngju Park. Louis Corso. Lara Ryan. Laurel Keys. Jennifer Cott. Lauren Rogers. Joshua Martin Clark. Angela Dang. Jasmine Nicole Bell. Ifesanachi Okechukwu. Lauren Islar. Kelsey Fruin. Vivian Wynn. Callie Coulter. Sydney Bradshaw. Caitlin Ashley Postal. John David Patterson II. Matthew Kindig. Elise Mary Clara Laborde. Marcus Granberry. Robert Harrison. Nick Laguza. Ford Lakin. Christopher Russell. David Herring. Kyle Bateman. Emily Schwabenland. Callie Rose Box. Caroline Sizemore. Linda Lancaster. Bethany Ellis. Thomas Harrelson. Eric Abram Johnson. Ronald Quillen III. Samantha Henry. Jonathan Bernard Evans. Daniel Swantner. John Christopher Stevens. Ashley Drew Darby. Ashley Caton Fuqua. Christopher Solly. Gregory Barbosa. Vincent Coleman Taylor. Francisco Laredo Hernandez. Caitlin Buxey. Scott Jostes. Laura Urway Fu. Lindsay Rachel Brantner. Andrew Luong. Stephanie Rousseau Taylor. Christina Wynn. Cara Aisha DeVette. Allison Fredericks. Brian Hollis Wilson. Michael Ryan Mayer. Sarah Hyun Lee. Julie Chong. Maria Shake. Louisa Tao. Rebecca Ann Yao. Carol McClung. Claire Jones. Kristen Hudson. Sarah Wagner.
Laura Martin. Caroline Parker. Monica Hayden. Danny Rash. Edward Salstein. Daniel Heller. Ben Connor Sexton. Jake LePage. Yuri Belasov. Michael Dixon. Christopher Rupert. Vivek Kumar Patel. Solomon Lee Brown. Elizabeth Winkleman. Ryan Chapa. Kyle Morris. Lauren M. Wilson. Christopher Allen Schultz. Fasol Sandrani. Sean Hardick. Sarah Haas. Christina Pertzborn. Angel Cabrera. Z Wong. Peiling Henry Yang. Lydia Bian. Hannah C. Connie Chan. Jessica Chen. Daniel Chow. Sydney Drost. Stephanie Swam. Vincent Chang. Henry Shi. Lucy Chow. Robert Nguyen. Dan Lee. Sion Cho. Yudi Fu. Ding Chong Cho. Lucy Liu. Grace Unhei Ko. Tracy Wing. Nancy Shia. Connie Han. Diana Mung. Alice Gina Yu. Ryan Winter. Z. Lee. Lisa Wren. Bindi Patel. Amit Kafilia. Robert Affel. Patrick Hastings. Yu Hong. Caitlin Thomas. Unvashika Somia Tayi. Estefania Llanos Montaña. Camille Angelique Remington. Jaledi Shukla. Madia Khurshid. Sarah Sabel Stanton. Joanne Damin Lee. Youngfuan Kim. Kathy Chen. Xiao Xiao. Jia Ju. Emilia Sheppy. Monique Dillard. Gaurav Walia. Saman Sabi Iqbal. Mary Dan. Julene Zhang. Victoria Chu. Hope McMahon. Pei Wang. Lee Dalio. Ashton Tribonier. Hunter Barlow Todd. Matt Kelly. John Bradley Vincent. Justin Hedeka. John Forrest Miller. Preston Grasty. Joshua McPhee. Robert Ward. Samantha Jean Prouty. Brian Marshall. Christopher Casey. David Claiborne Hare. Joel Tide Rogers. Tyler Johnson. Kel Ministo. Vanessa Liu. Jem Singh. Sahil Batra. Alexandra Civilo. Yisu Urenga. Marianela Salcedo. Arti Batia. Macarena Grossling. Ross Gregory Lyle. Peter Ham. Meredith Hightower. Stephen Brady. Gonzalo Pizzuto Aznar. Crosby Burnett. Lucas Bradford. Jennifer Millhouse. Shravan Nargunkar. Kamran Isayev. Nathan Lauren Pace. Olivia Stout. Chanda Nguyen. Ken Nguyen. Matthew Rao. Pierre Rochard. Brian Nelson. Melissa Hernandez. Edmund Alexander Halls Jr. Kevin F. Gonzalez. Christopher Alfonso Gonzalez. Rachel McClintock. Natalie Mason. Joanna Rayburn. Courtney Gibson. Sharon Wingsey Chan. Brittany Amber Gonzalez. Fuchu Chung. Isabel Macias. Ruth Martinez. Kevin Knight. Yufei Mao. Rachel Lynn Pinson. Richard Elias Seuss. William Ling. Taylor Sufchek. Jacob Pfeiffer. Rebecca Casino. Jacqueline Titus. Brett Martin. Lauren Shribnick. Sean Escoffrey. Julia Chow. Ni Zhang. Sam Hung. Boris Yang. Andrea Wong. Givens Miller. And that concludes our graduates.
Congratulations, MPA graduates. May you find as much personal fulfillment in your careers as I and the other members of the faculty have found in teaching you. We are pleased that so many spouses, parents, relatives, and friends joined us today. You are the quiet heroes and indispensable partners in this grand enterprise. Graduates, please stand and join me in thanking your friends and family and special people. You can keep standing, we're almost done. Before adjourning, on behalf of the students and faculty, I want to express my thanks to the entire Department of Accounting and to the MPA Program Office who assisted, and to thank all of you for attending the MPA ceremony, which appropriately concludes with the Eyes of Texas, after which the faculty and then the graduates will exit through the main entrance, and we would like to ask that faculty and friends follow by exiting the west doors opposite the stage. The passenger elevator is outside the southwest entrance, and it's available for individuals with mobility impairments. And now, if you will all stand, to lead us in the Eyes of Texas, I introduce Professor Stephen J. Katchelmeyer, who is the Randall B. McDonald Chair in Accounting. Steve, take us out.
At night or early in the morning.